Welcome in to another episode of the Real Wisdom Podcast, where every week I take a deep dive into the trenches of the film and television industries. I am your host, Derek Diamond, and this week I'm happy to welcome actress Jessica Mikayla to the show. Jessica, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Fantastic. And I was, reading your bio and, checking out your IMDb page before we started. You've done a lot in your time already in your acting career. So congratulations for that.
Thank
That's awesome.
you. Thank you so much.
For sure. So I always like to start these conversations with, kind of getting the backstory of the beginning of, whether
Mhm.
I'm talking with an actor, a director, screenwriter, because there's no guidebook on how to do film and TV. Everybody kind of has their own unique path of how they got started. So what is your story? What drew you to want to be an actress?
Okay, just imagine like a 6-year-old little Jessica, and she was watching Full House. And it was an episode where DJ got an audition and Stephanie like messed up the audition. I was like, oh my goodness, I want to be like Donna Joe Tanner. How do I do that? And I went to my mom, and she signed me up for a theater class. And then down the hall from that theater class was an on camera acting class. And I was like, that's what I want to be doing. So I started taking the class. And after a couple of months, we had a day where agents came and watched. And I guess someone thought I was pretty good. So they asked if I wanted to join, and I jumped at the opportunity as soon as I could.
That's actually pretty impressive because I can remember growing up watching Full House as it aired, and it was such a hugely popular show. And
Yeah.
I haven't thought of that episode until you just mentioned it, but I know exactly which one you're talking about. So yeah, that's really cool, and that I still think that's one of the most underrated shows of all
Me
time because
too.
you look at all the shows from back then, like there were a lot of great ones,
Right.
and people like will bring up Full House, but I feel like it still
Enough
doesn't get the credit
recognition.
that it should.
Yes.
Yeah.
Full House was my everything.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and there were people, that I grew up with that they swore by that show.
Hmm.
So, no,
As they
props.
should.
Yeah, absolutely. No, props to you for that.
Thank you.
In your time in your acting career, have you had the opportunity to meet or work with anyone from the show?
Okay, I was recording a commercial for Disneyland when Wakanda Forever had just came out, and I just finished, I wrapped. I walk out that door. I love your cup, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I walk out the
Spider-Man.
door. I love Spider-Man. Okay, and I walk out that door and I see John Stamos. But I didn't think it was John Stamos. I just went, hey, that kind of looks like John Stamos. He heard me. He turned around and said, hi. I cried. I cried and I ran to my mom. No second thoughts. Nothing went through my mind. It was just John Stamos, and I cried and I ran. And my mom was like, what just happened? Why are you sobbing? I saw you 2 seconds ago. I'm like, John Stamos is outside the door. Like if, like if you don't go back out there and say hi to this man. So me and like the entire crew like walk outside to go see John Stamos, and I go introduce myself, and he takes me around the entire studio trying to find good lighting for a picture. He fixes his hair, and he'll take a picture and be like, I don't like it. Let's go somewhere else. And I'm like, okay, wherever you want to go, John. That's okay. Tears still coming down my face, and I just let him drag me around the studio to take a good picture.
That's so cool. As I assume you told him that your Full House was the reason that you became an actor.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, the only reason I'm here is because of you.
You gotta love Uncle Jesse.
Gotta love Uncle Jesse.
Yeah, for sure. No, and he's done some cool things too. There was a show he did on Disney Plus, and I can't remember the name of it, but he was like a basketball coach.
Yeah, it was. I remember it had like
Big
Gazette
Shot.
Nicole Brown was
That
in
was
it.
the
Big
name of it.
Shots. Yep.
Yeah, I actually thought that was a pretty good show, and I
Hmm.
thought it was a good role for him.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what once you decide this is what you want to do, you mentioned the classes you took. So then how do you get your foot in the door as far as getting the jobs that you've gotten?
I think I just try to be as genuine as I can in auditions. And I was just a little kid having fun. And the first thing I got was an AT&T commercial. And I was like, I just was just happy to be there. And we got to just sit in a circle and talk and record. It was a great time. Just be, just, I was just a genuine little kid. This was like this was fun for me. I didn't want to go to the playground. I wanted to be on set and do
And,
auditions.
yeah, and you mentioning your mom, with you being a younger actress and you being a kid as you're doing all of this, did you have it? In addition to your mom, did you have a strong support system of those
Oh
around you that
yeah.
were helping you?
Yes, my mom was there every step of the way. She's back there somewhere. She's there for all of it. And my family was very supportive, and all my friends thought it was the coolest thing ever. And especially the ones that knew me when I was that young. And so it's just like, this is my famous friend. This is my friend who's on TV. You've probably seen my friend. She's on TV. Like, they're just flexing me, and I'm like, it was just a AT&T commercial, but thank you guys.
Well, that's got to be a, a a powerful feeling, though. Having
Yeah.
friends that are in a way kind of living vicariously through you, but that being genuinely happy for you, just to be like,
Mhm.
oh, my friend was in an AT&T commercial. No big
Yeah.
deal. Just a
I
commercial.
I remember when Project CC came out, a lot of my friends that were in college, they since I'm not at their school, they threw a mini watch party and like sent me videos of them all like sitting in front of the TV. Like, oh,
That's
thank you.
awesome.
They all rated 5 stars on Letterbox. Thank you so much.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so, because a lot of people, they don't have that kind of support system. They'll make
Mhm.
it in their career, but I've talked with people throughout the years on this podcast that they might have gone it alone or lived alone for a period of time. to
Mhm.
to have that kind of support system, to me, I say this to people, it's invaluable.
Mhm.
It's absolutely invaluable because you know w- things aren't always going to be perfect, as I'm sure you've learned, but to have that support system, to be like, it's all good, like you're going to
Yeah.
get through it, is vitally important.
Very helpful.
Do you have any kind of like a particular favorite role that you've done?
Ooh, favorite role. My favorite role is probably Western Honey and LOL Surprise, just because she's so sassy, and just hearing everyone laugh and seeing people like her as much as I do. I'm glad everyone thought this was just as funny as I did. She's a
Well, I'm sure
hilarious.
that was appealing to you, is to have that
Yeah.
that kind of a role, because you can really get into it, and it
Mhm.
shows that you were the right person for it.
Yeah.
Because if you're getting that kind of reaction, it is the same as yours.
Mhm.
That's you can't ask for anything better than that.
Yep. I love it when you can have fun, then everyone can tell you're having fun.
It makes me think of, back in when I was a kid, when the original Aladdin movie came out and
Mhm.
Robin Williams
Robin
was the
Williams.
genie.
Yep.
Yeah, I can only imagine just the reactions that he got whenever he
Yeah.
was in the booth doing the voice of Genie.
Mhm.
Had to have been incredible.
Yes.
So, and I know you've done voice acting and, on camera, or as
Mhm.
I call it, live action acting.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference, and what are kind of the differences? I know with voice acting, you obviously go into a studio and you read a script and you speak into a microphone, but are there any differences in preparation?
For preparation, I think there's not a big difference, but in a booth, you don't have to memorize your lines, even though you got to read them and be familiar with them, but you don't have to memorize your lines, and you have all this room just by yourself to have fun and be crazy. Me personally, I'm always moving around in the booth, so if I got to pretend I'm running, I'm sitting there going like that, moving around like if I was being recorded as in live action. Everyone is watching you, and it takes longer, but they're both so much fun.
Yeah, my wife has made the joke because we've done a couple of short films here
Hmm.
locally, and we're both very much behind the camera people,
Yeah,
but she's even like, I bet I could do voice acting. Like I would, it just she said it seems like so much fun to do.
it's so much fun. I love it.
And I know you mentioned my cup earlier. Those that are watching on YouTube, you can see the Spider-Man cup. You actually had a voice role in Into the Spider-Verse.
I
So
did.
talk to me about that.
I'm a very big Spider-Man fan. So even the fact that I got an audition for it was crazy enough. I was like, the fact that Sony like will see my name pop up on a computer, crazy. But, and it was, I believe that was my first role that I booked with for voiceover. So I was like, I'm already up there. Me and my Brooklyn kid. I'm gonna do my gosh darn best as Brooklyn kid. And we did get to record at Sony. So Spider Man.
Yeah, no, that's and I think Into the Spider Verse is one of the best Spider-Man movies. Like even up there with
Yes,
some of the live action ones,
100.
because not only was it cool to see Miles Morales on screen, after
Mm-hmm.
reading the comics for years,
Yeah,
but it really felt like a love letter
yeah. They
to the
took their
entire
time
franchise.
with it. With Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, you can tell they took their time. They made sure everything was perfect. They knew who their characters were. It was being a part of that. I'm canon. Like I'm canon
You
in the
that
in the
that's the
Spider
magic
Verse.
word.
I am canon, and that's
Yeah, and
good enough for me.
and I remember, seeing the first trailer for it, and I wasn't sure what to think of the animation style at first, but after
Hmm.
watching the movie, it was really cool.
It was like that was like an earth-shattering, groundbreaking movie.
I can't wait for the third one to come out. It
Every
will
time,
eventually.
every time it gets pushed back,
I just keep
I'm
telling
there
myself
every time.
it's for a good reason.
It's
It's
gonna
there.
be so good. It'll be worth it.
Yeah, it'll absolutely be worth it.
Yeah, better than them like just putting something out and not putting their best foot forward.
Hmm.
There
You
to make.
mentioned, like being a huge Spider-Man fan and getting to be into the Spider-Verse, was this great opportunity. Do you have any type of like an ideal dream role that you would love to do one day?
I think okay, watching Across the Spider Verse, Spider Bite was probably the first animated character where I was genuinely like, that kind of looks like me if I changed my hair up a bit. So, Sony, Sony, just my phone's on. Do not disturb is off. You can call me. I would love to be Spider Bite, please and thank you.
I mean, they're doing all these spin-offs with the villains
Right?
and whatnot, so and they're doing the Spider-Man Noir series, so
Yeah, we got Madam Web just came out with like 5 different Spider women in it. Hello,
the possibilities are endless.
right?
What would you say is the biggest lesson that you've learned in your career so far?
I think my biggest lesson is book the room and not the job. So just going in, being yourself, talking to the casting directors. Because if they like you, they're going to keep calling you. And if they like you enough, they're just going to book you anyways because they like you. So just make sure you're always
I
present
love that.
for
I've
that.
never heard that before. Book the room.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned that from my first acting class, Bobby Jean. He taught me that. 6 years old.
Wow.
I think that's what helped me like not get upset if I don't book something or worry about my auditions as much.
Well, it's true that even though sometimes things don't work out, that doesn't mean that it won't lead to a better opportunity, or you'll get a
Mhm.
better opportunity that leads from the missed one. Because
Yeah,
that you always try to take some kind of a win, even in what seems like a loss.
right. A
Because
win is a win.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and sometimes that's where you learn the best lessons is whenever you don't succeed. What kind of advice would you give, say, to a young up and coming actor? Because I think you're the first, like kind of rising star that I've ever interviewed on a podcast. So, this has been kind of a fascinating chat for me as someone who's had this kind of wave of success at a young age, and you hear these stories about child actors that or young actors that kind of burn out after a
Mhm.
while. What kind of advice would you give to, say, a young aspiring actor who might be your age or a little younger?
I think the book The Room and Not the Job is a good one. And with the burnout, just take your time. If you want a break, take a break. That's okay. Make sure you're talking with your guardian to make sure that this is like what you want to do. And like I try my best to be as nice and humble as I possibly can with the people that I meet, because you don't want to seem like you got this big ol' ego. And you never know who you might meet. Like I cried and was nice to John Stamos. You just gotta stay nice, stay genuine with whoever you meet in this industry. And I don't think we have enough nice and genuine people in the entertainment industry. So it's always a breath of fresh air when you meet people like that.
You made an impression when John Stamos is going around different places to be like, oh, I didn't like the lighting here. So
Right?
that
Rather than me freaking out and going crazy, just start sobbing. Every celebrity you meet, guys, cry. Apparently, it worked for me.
Hey, sometimes it does.
Just cry.
Yep, absolutely. Do you have or what's next for you? Do you have any upcoming projects in the works that you can talk about?
All right, we still got Ariel. That's fun. We're still doing that. And there's one really big project that I'm really excited about. I got an NDA, so keeping on the down low. But I'm very excited for this one, and it's different from anything that I've ever done, and I am super excited for people to hear it.
That's awesome. I look
Yes.
forward to seeing that. And speaking of that, how can people find you on social media? Like, do you have an Instagram or Facebook so the viewers and listeners can follow you?
My Instagram is Jessica_Mikayla10.
Fantastic. And I just followed you earlier today too. So yeah, it's good stuff on your Instagram. I
Thank
prefer
you.
it to like Facebook and Twitter. There's much less drama on
Me too.
Instagram. Yeah, and plus, like, I get to look at dog pictures, I get to look at food pictures, so
Exactly. Everything's there and it's all chill.
yeah, no fighting, no
No
anything
one's
like that. So
fighting. I'm just
no, it's
watching my
just like
cooking videos.
those are good too. Yeah,
Yup, I
I
love
just
them.
started getting into those not too long ago. But yeah, you can look at, you know, dogs playing, you can learn
Mhm.
how to cook, you can look at other food pictures and be like, hey, I could probably make that.
Or my mom with her AI animal videos that she keeps sending me. And she's like, look at this adorable little dog. I'm like, Mom, that's not a dog.
AI is on its way.
It's
It's
on its
it's
way.
not quite there yet, but it's getting there.
Yup.
So who knows, in a year or two,
It might be a
the
dog.
yeah, it'll just be a new breed of dog,
Yeah.
maybe. Cool. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for taking the time to have this chat with me. This was great.
Thank you. I had a great time.
Absolutely. And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, if you want to follow me on YouTube or social media, you can head over to linktree.com/realwisdompod. That's REEL Wisdom Pod. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys back here next Thursday for another awesome episode of Real Wisdom with Derek Diamond.